It's Rangers and Cubs. Last game of this three-game series.
He has a 2-2 record with the 3.11 ERA, 47 Ks to 8 base on balls.
The payoff on the way. And that ball's hit hard out toward the right field corner. That's down base hit. Young around second, heads for third, and Peterson slides in with a double.
Fastball pulled middle. Peterson pulls right field corner. Now, he didn't get out of the box quick, but once he got going, he wanted a double bad.
Osuna struck out his first time on a fastball, and he swings here and grounds one to first base. There's a play at home. Josh Young slides, and he's safe. The tag was missed. Carson Kelly missed the tag, and the Rangers have a 1-0 lead.
Tough play for the catcher.
Chicago's challenging the safe call at home plate.
He's taking the throw from the first baseman, but he's got to turn his body 90 degrees and get a tag down on the runner coming down the line from third.
As we see it again, it does appear that he missed his first attempt at getting the side of Josh Young's leg, went over the leg with his mitt and tagged him on the back leg. And he immediately asked for the challenge, and here we go.
The call stands. Runner safe. Chicago loses their challenge.
Where that thing's going to go. There's a ground ball through the right side. That's a base hit, and of course it is. Josh Young's third hit of the game.
It's getting closer and closer to that 7 number.
Here's the pitch. Swung on in a high fly ball to deep right field. Suzuki back in the corner at the wall. That ball is history. It just barely clears the leap of Suzuki. A 2-run homer for Evan Carter, and the Rangers lead it 3-0.
Full count. Carter gets a slider at 3-2.
For Evan Carter, his 5th home run, RBIs 12 and 13. And Jacob Latch will have some breathing room in the ninth.
Welcome, everyone, to Mr. Maine Podcast. I'm Mr. Maine. Yesterday, we had a great game as the Texas Ranger once again defeated the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs lost by the score of 3-0, and once again, they got shut out by the Rangers in back-to-back games. As the Texas Ranger won the 3-game series, they dropped the first game to the Cubs, but they came back and won the last 2. Now let's get into it. The Chicago Cubs was red hot coming into the series against the Texas Ranger. They won the first game, but then for the past 2 games, the Chicago Cubs offense pretty much is non-existent. They scored no runs in 2 consecutive games. The batting for the Chicago Cubs yesterday was really awful. They managed to get 3 hits in the whole entire game. Nickel Horner had 2 hits, and Michael Busch had 1 hit, and that was it for the Chicago Cubs. Very pathetic. In 2 games, this team has managed 0 runs in a back-to-back loss to the mighty Texas Rangers. Now for the pitching, James Talion pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, walked 2, struck out 4. The Texas Ranger batting was pretty good, led by Ezekiel Duran, who had 1 hit, and Corey Seager had 1 walk and struck out 1 time. Evan Carter had a big game. He had a home run, 2 RBIs, and also struck out once. Jock Peterson chipped in and got a hit, struck out once and walked once. Alejandro Osana chipped in. He got a hit and also got an RBI, and he also struck out 1 time. Now, Josh Jung was the player of the game. He went to bat 4 times, had 2 runs, and 3 hits. So he was the most active player on the team for the Texas Ranger and designated as players of the game at the end. It was a very low-scoring game that the Texas Ranger managed to beat the Chicago Cubs by the score of 3-0. A defensive game. Jacob deGrom was brilliant. He was an ace. He pitched for 7 innings, gave up only 3 hits, and he struck out 10 batters. So as far as pitching, Jacob deGrom was the mastermind behind the whole win because he pitched flawless. Jacob Latz came in for 2 innings, struck out 1, and got the save. This was a great, low-scoring, very strategic game that the Texas Rangers won as they shut out the Chicago Cubs in back-to-back games. Now, let's take a look at the scoring summary for the game. Bottom of the 4th, Cubs challenge tag play. Car on the field was uphill. Alejandro Osana reaches on a fielder's choice. Field by first baseman Michael Busch. Josh Jung score. Jock Penderson to third. The score is 1-0 Texas. Bottom of the 8th, Evan Carter homer to right. And Josh Jung score. And the score was 3 Texas and Chicago Cubs 0. And that was pretty much the game. It was a low-scoring affair, very defensive game, and Texas and Jacob deGrom were the winner. Now, let's look at the game recap for this particular game. Game recap, Jacob deGrom strikes out 10 while reaching 1,900 Ks as Rangers beat Cubs 3-0 in another shutout. Arlington, Texas, Jacob deGrom tied a season high with 10 strikeouts while earning the 1,900 of his career. Evan Carter hit a 2-run homer in the 8th inning, and the Texas Rangers beat the Chicago Cubs 3-0 on Sunday. The Texas right-hander allowed 3 hits in 7 innings while striking out Ian Happ 3 times to end Happ's career best streak for reaching base at 30 games. The Rangers took the series with consecutive shutouts, their 4th and 5th of the season, after the Cubs opened the 3-game set with a victory that clinched their second 10-game winning streak in a span of 23 games. Josh Jung, who had 3 hits for the second game in a row, opening the scoring by racing home from third on Alejandro Osana's grounded wide of first in the 4th, his foot touching home on his slide just before the tag from catcher Carson Kelly and Michael Busch throw. The Cubs challenged and the call was upheld on the review. Jacob Latz retired all 6 batters in the 8th and 9th for his 4th save, striking out Sanya Suzuki to end the game with Happ waiting on deck. Leadoff man Nico Horner had 2 hits off deGrom, but Chicago's 2-3-4 hitters, including Happ, went 0 for 9 with 8 strikeouts against the 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Busch and Pete Crow Armstrong also entered the game with lengthy on-base streaks for the Cubs. Busch extended his to 12 with a single in the 7th. Crow Armstrong ended at 13th. The 1,900 strikeout for deGrom came in the 1st when Suzuki swung at a 91.3 mile per hour slider to end the inning. He was the second fastest in games, 556, to reach 1,900 behind Hall of Famer Randy Johnson, 252. The 37-year-old was also at the second fastest in the innings, 1,578 and 1/3 behind Atlanta left-hander Chris Sales, 1,560 1/3, according to Elias Sports Bureau. Now, if you like this content, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.
So deGrom right back at him and strikes him out on the fastball by Esther. Jacobs 2-2 to Suzuki, and he got him swinging. A strikeout of Suzuki and a round number for Jacob deGrom. Wrapped up that first inning, fittingly, with a strikeout of Seiya Suzuki. Got him on the fastball. That was number 1900 in his career. Undoubtedly. Speaking of which, 7th pitch of this at bat, and it's strike 3 called. He gets half looking. Jacob, long hold, and the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes out. We're on the 2-2, and he gets him swinging on the heater. 1-2 on the way. A swing and a miss. He strikes out Bush. And as sharp as they come here today, the 2-2. A swing and a miss. He strikes out Kelly.
Top of the zone.
1-2, and that's exactly what they do. Race the fat. Here's a 2-2. And a swing and a miss. Another strikeout for deGrom. Wee little feet. Here's the 3-2. And a swing and a miss. 10th strikeout of the game for deGrom.
Give 7 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts. You know, you said after that start in New York that you needed to be better. So what did you really dial in between your last start and this one?
I was just trying to make the adjustment of my arm's been a little low this year, so trying to get it up where I feel like I'm like through the baseball. So that one in Yankee Stadium, it got better as the game went. I ended up, last inning, gave up a couple runs there in Yankee Stadium, but the throw was better. So working this week, trying to get my slot kind of where I want it, and it just helped with my fastball slider combination. The changeup's been pretty good for the first part of this year, but getting with Danny before the game, we had a really good plan of how we wanted to attack those lefties, and me and him were on the same page the whole time, and the Cubs have been playing really well, so the goal is to go out there and put up zeros, and it was a tight game there, and then we were able, Evan hit the 2-run homer to put us up 3, so a little bit of breathing room there in the 9th, but knew every pitch mattered and had to really bear down and try to make every pitch really good.
It seems like you sometimes pitch your best in these tight games. So what do you like about these close ones?
I don't know. It's that's why we're out there. We want to compete, and these tight games, it's, hey, I got to really focus and lock in and try not to make any mistakes. And it just sometimes that's not always the outcome, but I got to keep putting up zeros because this guy's matching me, and hopefully hopefully he breaks before I do.
Second fastest in MLB history to 1,900 strikeouts, and Skip said today you looked like the guy he even faced 10 years ago. So what does it mean to you to not only be reaching these milestones, but to still be doing it in the same way you did earlier in your career?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've said this. Every day I'm able to put this uniform on, I'm thankful for. This is what I grew up doing, and as a kid it was only a dream to be able to play Major League Baseball, and to think that I'd be able to accomplish really anything in this game it's still just a dream. So every day I kind of come in the same way, and it's always trying to get better and figure out ways to get people out. And there's always adjustments to be made. And it's just, I've been very fortunate to be able to do this. So just try to keep going.
Jacob deGrom starts this inning, reaches 1,900 strikeouts, but just blows by that. How impressive was he today?
We've said it before about vintage Jacob deGrom, but that was what I remember when I faced him 10 years ago. It was on the attack, low pitch count, but high strikeout. That's so hard to do. That means you're striking out guys, 4 or 5 pitches every inning. 10 strikeouts, I think he had, something like that. Not maybe one high leverage inning after the Nico leadoff double, but other than that, he was just on cruise control. The changeup was excellent, slider behind counts, getting ahead with the slider, and then obviously 97, 98 at the top. That was as good as I've seen him this year, maybe his best start so far.
Another 2-inning save for Jacob Latz. Every time he goes out there in those high leverage moments, what additional confidence does that give you in him for those situations?
Yeah, he was down, for a couple of days. We haven't used him, it feels like forever. But so he was available for multiple innings. I didn't really know what that was going to look like. If it was going to, depending on when Jacob or how many innings Jacob was going to give us. But he made it an easy decision for me because Jacob went 7 innings, and then you just give it to Latz and let him take it over from there. It's been fun to watch him attack the role that we gave him early on, and then now he's our highest leverage reliever, in my opinion. Righties and lefties, we were going to give him the toughest lane if it was 8th inning, 7th and 8th inning, and then maybe someone else in the 9th inning, probably Junis, depending on how it lined up. But he had all 4 pitches working. He has starter stuff in a back end closing type of role, and that makes it very challenging for righties and lefties. So it was quick innings too. It was excellent.
Another multi-hit night from Josh Young, but then you see Evan Carter come in and really be able to seal the deal there. So how important is it to see other guys stepping up in those moments?
Evan doesn't have a chance to hit a homer if it wasn't for JJ to get a base hit to the right side. And I know awesome that Evan got a home run, but again, it doesn't happen without JJ fighting his tail off to get on base for that to happen. Evan had a couple weak fly balls to left field, was frustrated, and then he gets a hanging slider against a guy that was throwing 100 miles an hour and stays inside the ball, getting enough behind it for a home run. So, excellent at bat. He's been having good at bats, just hasn't had a ton of luck. A lot of good at bats and walks, but not a ton of hits, but good at bats. So I'm glad it broke through for him today. And it's always nice going into the 9th inning up 3 and not up 1. So that was a nice cushion to have.
So you're not going to call Jacob Latz your closer?
He's going to be later in the game. A lot.
How often do you think you can ask him to pitch multiple innings to finish off games?
Definitely not every day. He's not going to go 2 innings tomorrow. I think that would be unfair to go back to back. But he is the one guy that I feel really comfortable. Honestly, Cole Winn can do it too. We have the luxury of having Junis, Winn, Alexander, Beeks, and we have a number of guys that can go 1+, right? But I think what is coming out of his hand is just different from anybody else right now. It's 96 with 3 other real pitches. I don't think I could do it back-to-back days. I won't do it actually until we need it, and hopefully we later on, way later in the season. But I think a day off or 2 between multiple innings. But dirty inning, go back out for 1. He hasn't done that yet. Right. So I think that would be okay after 1 day off.